Henry Cavill finally plays James Bond, but does he?
The following is a world-class Bullshitters exclusive.
So folks, last year, Nick and I reviewed Operation Fortune here on the channel, and Operation Fortune was one of our favorite films of last year. Directed by Guy Ritchie and starring Jason Statham, Josh Hartnett, Hugh Grant, and a whole lot more, Operation Fortune was a fun ensemble piece that reminded me why I like Guy Ritchie films in general, and it reminds me why James Bond films have been lacking in everything for such a long time. So here we are in 2024 with the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare, and Guy Ritchie does it again. So this is another ensemble picture. Now this time the actors aren't as well known. Of course Cary Elwes returns, of course we all love Henry Cavill, but overall it's a great ensemble cast of actors who are excellent, but they may not be household names. That being said, this film was a lot of fun. I get it that people use the phrase fun to overlook plot points or story details, or basically they use it as a word to ignore what a movie is lacking. But like other films I have seen lately, fun is not a cover-up. Fun is just an emotion that I felt while watching the film, or happiness, I should say. Last year's Operation Fortune blew me away, and this year's film, well, pretty much did the same thing as well. I know we've been on a positivity kick lately. No, we're not taking happy pills. No, we're not taking crazy pills. Got away from all that crap. What we are, though, is enjoying some really great films. And this film is an enjoyable picture that I think everyone in this audience is going to enjoy. Now, it's based on recently released government documents from World War II. And if you're like me, World War II, now let me say this the right way, is an exciting era to make films about. Now, I'm not saying it's exciting to watch people die or anything like that. Well, some people, and in this movie you get a lot of those. Believe me, these German soldiers eat shit and they deserve it, and it's beautiful. But this is one of those films that does have the layers of depth. It's not just guns and running and fighting and this and that. It's set in World War II, which has this historical backdrop. And so this film gives you a historical World War II backdrop, but it does it in a fun way. I'm going to jump the gun and say this movie is what Inglourious Basterds should have been for me. Now, not every performance is on the same level. Like Hans Landa, played by the actor who I'm forgetting his name, Christoph Waltz, he's excellent. But our other Yahtzee, our other German officer, who's a real piece of work, is pretty damn good here too. Now, this film's probably half the length of Inglourious Basterds, and it doesn't really have any of that, the art scenes or any of that revisionist history. What it is it basically is a historical retelling of something that happened, but they're able to do it in a fun way, a modern way, if you will. The music, the cinematography, a lot of stuff about this movie feels like 2024 in a positive way. This is the type of film that takes new technology and uses it in the right way. We don't get an overabundance of CGI. I couldn't really tell you where the CGI was in this movie. I assumed, they didn't really blow up ships, but I think they were on real boats. They were really on location, and that's the type of thing that we talk about in genre pictures, and we, lament that it's not there, but it's here in a film like this. So I hope that people that are really pushing for this type of a movie go out and see this one, because it's a fun action movie. It's the type of crap that people have been talking about, wanting for years. This is a really intense action movie. It's got espionage elements. It's an ensemble piece. So if you're expecting it to be the Henry Cavill story, it kind of is really. Yeah, he is the lead. It does interact with a few other characters. There's a black guy and this other lady who's a spy. Their story is cool, but it all ties together well. And according to government documents, this is based on a true story. So that goes to show you that life is stranger than fiction. Now, the other actors beyond Henry Cavill are great, but like I said, they're really not that well known. They're based on real people, so that's the important part. But I find myself wanting to watch this movie again, just to watch it again and see if I missed anything. Because it is a very straightforward story. This isn't Dune. This isn't layered like to the nth degree with all of these parallels to real world politics or any of this shit like that. It's a film that takes place in the 1940s, and it's cool. It's epic. If you liked Oppenheimer, you're gonna like this movie because it's nothing like Oppenheimer. But what it is we're creating this like weird non-connected universe of World War II films where you can kind of just watch, and if they're based on true events, but you can watch these epic stories and you can treat them like they're in a shared universe because they're part of our real world. This is what a real shared universe is on film. The WW2 shared universe. And this film is right at the front of it. You can throw a lot of these other stories in there as well and create this universe. Band of Brothers is the streaming version. Long story short, it's a lot better than what we're going to get from the MCU. So if you're looking for superhero movies to be your big budget, popcorn film, well, give this movie a try. Now, I do want to say that the action scenes aren't every 5 seconds. There aren't jokes every 5 seconds. They're paced out like a normal movie. This is a normal film. And a moment ago, I know I compared this to Inglourious Basterds, and that's more of an Elseworlds what-if story, but it's also a little pretentious for me. I don't care about the movie theater and changing history and that stuff. It's a fine film. I personally don't like it. I did love Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, but if it's only being compared because it's about a group, a team during World War II, and I like this one a lot more. The action is over the top. They shoot everybody up. This is a violent film. It earns an R rating because it's bloody. If you do not like German soldiers from World War II, but you love to watch them get killed in unique ways, they are cannon fodder, and they're the biggest pieces of crap. They talk about blowing people out of the water, or how they're better, or you're inferior, or this and you're that, and then you watch them eat shit, and it is glorious. It's so cathartic to watch Yahtzees from World War II eat shit and die. I do believe that there is money to be made in a film that is just Nazi hunting. Oh, wait, it's called Sisu. See, folks, we're in this weird window where there's one evil enemy on film that we still hate as a society, that we still take pleasure in watching them die. And if we get more films like this where we just destroy them left and right, I think we'll all be a lot happier. No one's going to watch a film like this and go, man, we should look at the humanity of the other characters. No, we don't need to. This film is a lot like The Dirty Dozen. This film is a lot like classic World War II films that came before it. And it's really good. And it just so happens to be based on a true story. So I know that this review lacks story detail and plot elements because this is another one that I want you to go out and see. Folks, I want you to know here on the channel, the vaguer the review, the better the film. Because I'm trying to think about what to tell you, how to entice you to watch this film without giving you the spoilers or the cliff notes. I understand money is valuable and time is even more valuable, but take my word for it. When I tell you to see some of these movies out there, you're not going to feel like you wasted your time, because that is what I take into consideration the most. And I did not feel like I wasted a single second of time during this film, and I do not believe you will either. But again, I can't tell you each and every beat for beat by detail because I don't want to ruin the movie, and it's a historical event, and if you're really, really, really curious, you can just Google it, but don't take away the fun. Kind of go in blind, because I didn't realize that the character, and here's a spoiler, but it's not a spoiler because it's a historical event, but the twist of the movie, for me at least, is, I've been a Bond fan my whole life. I'm 35, I've liked James Bond since, the James Bond Jr. era, so I've been around for a minute. And there hasn't been an actor that I personally have wanted to see play James Bond so much in my lifetime as I have Henry Cavill. We're never going to get that. I know I'm the bearer of bad news. You can hate me for it. That's fine. But I don't believe we'll ever get Henry Cavill as James Bond. Well, I did believe that until I saw this film, because at the end of this movie, much like Fast Times at Ridgemont High, where you get to see where each character is from a wonderful credit scene, like Brad Hamilton's becoming the manager of the Quick Stop, that's a fun little trope that this movie carries over. It tells you where each one of these people ended up in history. And I didn't know this, but our main character is the inspiration for James Bond. It says that at the very end, and it's kind of cool. Now, there is a British officer who's with Cary Elwes the whole time, and his name is Ian Fleming. Yeah, this is based on a true story where Ian Fleming is a character in the film. So if you love espionage like I do, if James Bond's your fictional hero, this movie is fucking awesome. It's like a prequel to James Bond, but in the right timeline. This whole Daniel Craig era can suck a dick, but trying to make James Bond set in the modern age is kind of hard, at least when you're trying to tell an origin story, because James Bond is so entrenched with World War II and the Cold War, and most people don't realize that, because if you read a lot of the stories, or if you even watch the old Connery films, they talk about Nazi gold, they talk about things that happened during the war. You need to have a knowledge, you need to know where you are at this point in time. And Operation Fortune is nothing to do with that, but the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare is one of those films, and this film expands the history as well. So all in all, folks, this rambly review is trying to tell you this. This film is action-packed. It is well acted. It is beautiful. It has great effects. And I'm talking about special effects that aren't in CGI. Great set pieces, a lot of action, tons of humor. This is not an MCU style film that kills the tension for humor. There is the climax of the film that requires tension and explosions and all sorts of these other things. And a Marvel film would cut in to make jokes. This movie makes you feel like you're on the edge of your seat with these guys and lady in the middle of a big mission. And the characters, you're going to fall in love with them. Some of them have a lot to do. Some of them are just background guys on the team. But they're all fun and unique. From the Frogman to the big Swedish guy and beyond. Like, every character on this team is something. Hell, here's a spoiler. There's a guy who had been captured. And they have to go save him before they can even do the mission. They go in and they kill all these Yahtzees, these German soldiers. And the guy's hanging there by these chains. And he's got a car battery clamped to his nipples, and after all that stuff, he has a long conversation with them, and then it ends with, "Can you turn off the battery?" It was so funny. Like, it's a Guy Ritchie film. If you like Guy Ritchie films, you know what you're going to get yourself into. And personally, after this back-to-back knockout of Operation Fortune and this, I'd like to see a new Guy Ritchie team movie. If they don't suck, I would watch one annually, but I don't want to overdo it, so biannually, whatever the time is needed to give Guy Ritchie the tools to make another one of these pictures. But I would put this in a realm of like a Kingsman or something that I'm going to watch fairly often. Is it going to be a skip it, stream it, or buy it? This is a stream it day one. This is a 4K purchase on a discount. Not that it's not worth my time or money, but economically speaking, will I personally watch this movie, once a month or something? Will I watch it as much as Late Night with the Devil? No, but this is the type of film that I will not only watch by myself, but with friends, and I will recommend it, and I will share it with family members and the like. If you're looking for a film that you can watch with a parent, a grandparent, or someone that's older that enjoys World War II, or even if someone that's older that doesn't buy into the modern shit of like superheroes and all this genre entertainment, then this film is one for you. And if you're a parent that has a family and you're okay with your kids seeing, some Yahtzee killing and a couple other things, take your family to go see this movie. This is a lot of fun. You won't be bored. Even if I was a kid, I wouldn't have been bored by this. They pace it well. It's fun. It's historically set. It's great, and I can't recommend it enough. I won't give you a score because I won't, but I told you what I think of it already. So, folks, thank you for watching. But until then, folks, I'm going to ask you to do what I always do. Be smart, be safe, be cool, but always be excellent to each other. And go see this one. You're going to like it. Stealing Solo asks the greatest what-if question of all time. What if a group of disgruntled Star Wars fans kidnap Harrison Ford and force him to remake Star Wars in their basement? That, and a whole lot more, is answered in Stealing Solo, a Captain's Parody. Stealing Solo has been called Laugh Out Loud Funny and the greatest Star Wars parody since Spaceballs, and it's available now for a limited time only. Go to StealingSolo.com, which is powered by Shopify, so you get the reward-winning safety and security, and get yourselves a copy today. Once we sell through this limited backstock, I'm going back to the drawing board to bring you the sequel, which parodies Luke Skywalker's fall from grace, and finally the closing chapter, which I can't wait to get to, Frankenfisher, the Bride of Solo. And yes, it's exactly what you think it is. So folks, the only way to get that is go to StealingSolo.com right now, get yourselves a copy, and enjoy the greatest Star Wars parody since Spaceballs.